Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all had a nice little holiday break. I'm really happy to be filming my January Plan With Me video because I loved this celestial, space, stars, and planets theme. This aesthetic has been everything to me the past few months, and I hope you all really enjoy this theme too. So I wanted to keep the drawing pretty simple and easy since I knew I was going to be doodling a ton throughout my spreads, but I think it turned out super cute still. I really like this space in a bottle theme, so I outlined this glass bottle and I just filled it with planets, meteors, stars, moons, and spaceships. You can honestly doodle whatever you want here, there's no right or wrong. Bullet journaling is all about making it how you want it, so you can go with what I drew, or you can add more things like galaxies or satellites. This universe is all yours to create. So I wanted it to look like the space was coming out of the top of the bottle too, so I drew a simple cork popping off and I continued my doodles to the top corner of the page. And then I'm taking my Tombow dual brush pen markers and just shading everything in. I included the exact colors down below in the description box, but I basically switched between 3 different shades of purple, and I used the darkest purple to fill in the planets and the meteors, and I made sure to leave some spaces uncolored so the page didn't look overwhelmed by the dark purple color. And for the stars and suns, I used my Sakura metallic gold jelly roll pen, and I really love how it turned out. I think it gives the cover page a special pop while still being pretty subtle. And once the gold pen was completely dry, I went back with my Micron pen and outlined the stars and the suns again to make sure the lines looked really dark and crisp. And to just fill some of the blank spaces, I added clusters of small dots that sort of look like stars. And I took my white pen and added some dots and stars into January too, and I think this turned out really cool and made the text look super interesting. So moving on to the monthly overview, I made each calendar box 5x5, and I'm just freehanding everything, but feel free to use a ruler if you like your lines nice and neat. I decided to include an extra to-do box in case the calendar didn't have enough space for all the things I'd have to do throughout the month. So I figured I'd use the calendar for scheduled tasks, and the to-do section will be for anything that needs to be done eventually in January but doesn't have an exact due date. And now I'm adding in all of my doodles to the top and bottom of the page. I included this cute spaceman waving high. He's just exploring the universe, doing what he loves and just living his best life. And again, I'm coloring everything in with the dark purple, and instead of using the gold as a highlight color, I decided to use the light purple shade just because the brush pen makes coloring so much easier and faster. And so I just added in some drop shadows around the calendar, although I'm not sure exactly how I like it. I think I need to practice my drop shadowing skills still. And then I'm using the medium purple to line across the dates of the calendar and the lightest purple for those extra blank squares. Moving on to one of my favorite spreads, I found this adorable mood tracker idea on Pinterest, and I really wanted to incorporate this into my journal. So I'm adding a sun in the middle and creating 3 rings around it, which is what will be colored in for my moods. And since there's 31 days in January, you want to make sure you have enough space to draw 31 things around the rings. As you can see, I traced in all of my planets, stars, comets, and ships with the pencil first to make sure I got all of my spacing correct before I went in with my pen. Then to connect everything together, I added more dots and tiny circles to make it look like a meteor belt. For my mood colors, I'm just keeping it simple and using the same 3 purple shades as I've been using for this month, and I'm just coloring the sun gold. At first, I just wrote the number of days right next to the doodles, but I thought they were a little hard to see, so I drew in these black circles and used my white pen on top for the numbers, and I like how it turned out so much better than before, and the numbers are way easier to see. Then moving on to my habit tracker, I'm still trying to work out which habits I want exactly, but I've come up with these 9 for now. Hopefully I'm able to keep up with everything and this doesn't end up as just a big blank page in the end, but some of these will be things I want to try to do daily and some will be weekly, like trying to clean the cat's water fountain. And in case you wanted to know, each box is 7 by 6 squares, so I'm adding in all of my little doodles randomly throughout the page, and some are covering a little bit of the habit boxes, which looks really cute, especially the little spaceman hanging out right there. And I'm taking the light and dark purple markers and shading everything in again. I decided to not use the gold on every single page just because I didn't want to go overboard with it. So for this video, I decided to go through and show how I drew my spreads for all 5 weeks of January. I'm not sure if I'll do this every month since it does make the video longer, but let me know what you guys prefer. Anyways, I wanted to keep these pretty simple, so I just have a section for each day and a note section on the side. And since I had a little extra space on top, I decided to put a short quote. I wrote "Starlight, star bright" and added some gold twinkling stars around it, and I think it turned out super cute. Since I'm still figuring out how I like to lay out my spreads, I decided to fit an entire week onto one page instead of across 2 like you would normally see. I'm just going to start out this way for now and maybe try a larger weekly spread in a later month. But for now, I figured this amount of space would work nicely for me. So you'll see that I followed a similar pattern for each week. I wrote out Monday through Friday and I combined the space for Saturday and Sunday since I usually don't have as much work to do over the weekends, and I always like to have an extra note section for random ideas and thoughts, or if I have a meeting with a client, I like to have a space to jot things down. And with whatever blank space I have left on the page, I'll add in my doodles. This particular spread turned out to be my absolute favorite, so I used the light purple marker and randomly swatched them as the background for the text, and it sort of looks like little brush strokes. And I added little circles and stars around each one, and I think it turned out really pretty even though it was really simple and quick to do. At the bottom, I drew a mini size of my space in a bottle from the cover page and wrote, "How did the universe bottle so much wonder into your soul?" I thought this quote fit the theme so well, and I'm really in love with this page. And this is just my last weekly spread. As you can see, I kept everything pretty simple and didn't go too crazy with drawing and coloring. And I wanted to finish this month off with a motivational quote. "The darkest nights produce the brightest stars." I thought this would be a nice reminder for those days where I'm not feeling great and I feel sad about something. Everybody has those days, but things will always get better. When you're at your lowest, the only way to go is up. This is just something I always like to remind myself to help me stay in a positive mindset. So I made sure to color in my doodles with purple and only use the bright gold on the stars. I thought this would give them a nice emphasis to go with what the quote says. And that wraps up my January plan with me. I really hope you liked this theme as much as I did, and if you decide to recreate it, I would love to see some pictures. You can tag me on Instagram with your beautiful recreations at AFCXX3. I'm really looking forward to seeing them, and I will see you all in the new year. Bye!